Some very loud and very strident alarm bells are ringing in France right about now, as Ubisoft is going into full-on panic mode. They know that Assassin's Creed Shadows is not going to perform very well, and they are now also admitting that Star Wars Outlaws underperformed. Due primarily to a softer-than-expected market, which really does remind me of a recent statement a few months ago by Warner Brothers about how the failure of the Suicide Squad was just something they couldn't predict. The PC gaming market was just so wildly unpredictable. Who could ever have seen the failure of Suicide Squad coming? Who knows? Who knows indeed? Perhaps, maybe if Warner Brothers, Ubisoft, Sony, if all of these corporations came together and looked at their recent flops, Star Wars Outlaws, Concord, Suicide Squad, maybe some sort of commonality might appear. Who knows? Just a suggestion. But on their recent conference earning call here, and in a follow-up summary/announcement, they do a couple of interesting things. So firstly, Assassin's Creed Shadow has been pushed back to February, which sort of kind of surprised me because I genuinely figured they would just push this stinker out the door and hope nobody really noticed it, in essence. However, the move to February does make a lot of sense. Not from a game-fixing perspective, they reiterate in this earning call that it is feature complete. Everything they want to have in the game is in the game. They're just going to take 3 extra months for polish, I guess. The thing is, 3 months in game development terms is really just not that much time, and it certainly isn't enough time to fix anything that is actually seriously wrong with the game. So why would they move to February? Oh, I wonder, what could be going on in the United States of America in February, I wonder? That's right, of course. Black History Month. You know what? Credit where credit is due. That's actually a rather ingenious move. I'm not even kidding. It's brilliant. You've got a game that is going to flop, and you will even be able to make a fairly coherent argument that it's going to flop because of its black character. Now, granted, it's a little bit more complex than that, but when has complexity and context ever stopped the left wing from doing anything? And you will push it out during a month which is normally central, where a lot of people who are very, very, shall we say, racially aware will be hypersensitive to these things, and then comes along a video game. Now, the majority of these people aren't going to have the faintest clue what a video game is beyond a box that apparently plays pretty pictures, but they will know that there's a black guy in it, and they will know that apparently those evil right-wingers are yet again at it with their racism. It is actually a fairly clever decision, as they will be getting a large group of people who will defend their game vehemently without having the faintest fucking clue what the game is or what it's about, and who might even be coaxed into purchasing it. That one's slightly more dubious, as every single time the left has actually tried to mobilize consumers, they have failed, but who knows? It's an interesting strategy, it's a fine Hail Mary, and it might even work out. We'll have to wait and see. But they've also announced a couple other things. One is they are issuing refunds to pre-orders, which is weird. Normally, companies only do that if something is going really horribly wrong, and makes me think that maybe they're considering just writing off the entire thing as a loss, a la Concord, and then, quietly shoveling it off into the next quarter, hoping that it will sneak under the investor's nose for a little while longer. Maybe. Alternatively, with their financial quarter coming up, maybe they're thinking, okay, let's get the pre-orders off the board. Let's wipe those out so that we can go to our investors and say, oh, you see these really low pre-order numbers? Don't worry. We just issued a refund because we wanted to add in the first DLC expansion. Yes, for free. That's why we did it. Don't worry about it. The incredibly low numbers are just reflective of the fact that people haven't had time to purchase it yet. Calm down. At the very least, it will give them an element of plausible deniability, right? And there is also, yes, they are adding the first DLC or expansion pack in for free, mind you, which again demonstrates a lack of faith in their product. They don't think they can sell it bare bones as per usual, so they're going to dangle the expansion pack in front of your nose and hope that that might convince some people. They also pointed out here, oh dear, yes. Finally, let me address some of the polarized comments around Ubisoft lately. I want to reaffirm that we are an entertainment-first company, creating games for the broadest possible audience, and our goal is not to push any specific agenda. We'll remain committed to creating games for fans and players that everyone can enjoy. Now, this is of course 98% the usual corporate bullshit, because you can tell us this all you want, Ubisoft, but we're not idiots. This might have flown 10 years ago, and indeed it did, but we've arrived at some conclusions as to your business strategies thereafter. We've more or less figured out your game here, though there is something interesting to be mentioned about this on a bit of a broader scale. Disney as well, in the last 2 or 3 earning calls, have reiterated that they are not aiming for an agenda, that they're aiming for the broadest possible market. Now, broadest possible market could be what the wokies have promised them. Oh, if you just listen to us, the wider audience will save you. Trust us. Well, we know for a fact that Disney has pretty much rejected this with their latest success, Inside Out 2, where they specifically instructed the creators again and again and again that no, you don't get to sexualize the 13-year-old child. Fucking freaks, stop it. The very fact that this needed to be reiterated at all. Holy shit. Like, I would love to sit in on the boardroom meeting where some Disney executive raises his hand and goes, a controversial item for the agenda. Could we not sexualize the 13-year-old child? And the creatives on the other side of the table just start fuming. But again, so Disney has been saying for a while now that they are going to start moving away from the progressive agenda. They've been hinting at it, they've been signaling it, and I do again believe that The Acolyte was the final major massive Hail Mary going all in on wokeness. And right now they are sitting on a massive success, Inside Out 2, which earned billions, and The Acolyte, which costs billions. Or, well, you know, just only a few $100 million, but you get the drift here. Even Disney cannot fail to see the lesson in this. And so it makes me think that a lot more of these companies might be beginning to actually realize this point. They can have a successful game, or their successful title, and they can have a failed title. And after trying for 5 years, because all of this, again, takes ages. The corporate machine is enormous, it is slow, and it is blind, deaf, and dumb on top of it all. It takes a very long time for it to turn, and it takes a lot of data to turn it around. Right now, it has been hinting at a change for a while, and with these successes, we are probably going to see it. Now, there was also Ghost of Tsushima, which was mentioned in the earning call, or more correctly, Ghost of, was it Yote? The new one? Now, I have my reservations about that one, because I hadn't looked into it, but I was told about it just today, in fact, on the side-scrollers, and it is hiring some very politically active people. And as I explained to Craig and Blabs, these are not people that are capable of shutting the hell up. These are political activists that believe that their worldview is so good, so holy, so absolute, that anyone who does not follow it is repugnantly evil and must therefore be set straight. Once you bring such an individual into your company, you're probably already boned. Now, It is too early to tell immediately from just one trailer, of course. Mayhaps they are capable of resisting the influence that they have invited into their own house. It is entirely possible. It has happened before, even if sparingly. But it is a sign that perhaps that game series 2 is not going to do so well in the future. The same for Stellar Blade, who has been trucking around with some suspect individuals as of late. But to put it like this, right now, we are basically at the absolute peak of the culture war. We may have just tipped over the edge to the point where we will begin returning to normalcy and a more right-oriented structure. But that still means that the games that are coming out now, that are going to be coming out over the next year or two, were created when wokeism was at its absolute most powerful. Which means that we've got a lot of shit to sift through before we start seeing anything of quality. Indeed, if anything of quality is even being planned, it's probably going to be planned now. So yeah, do bear that in mind. Though, I do to a degree believe that when they say stuff like this, it is because the company is beginning to look at their flagging earnings, at their failures, at a repeated and easily observable history of wokeist failures particularly, and thinking to themselves, it's starting to look kind of like this cancer is actually not benign after all. And the next step is going to be to cut it out. If Ubisoft will survive the surgery, well, that is a point that is utterly irrelevant to me. In fact, I'm kind of cheering that maybe they expire underneath the knife, as, again, at least it would shake Silent Hunter free. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? Until next time, I have been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.